Welcome to How to Dance with a Partner. Like and subscribe. This is the lady's 1.5 wrap turn. We looked at the lady's footwork for her left 1.5 turn in a previous video, and we also looked at the lady's inside turn in a previous video. These are all the same footwork for the lady. It's her left 1.5 turn. Anytime the lady turns left more than halfway around, she turns 1.5. which requires what I'm calling 2 measures of footwork, or in this case, a measure and a half. So she does a 1, 2, 3, a 1 to finish her turn. Now, the difference between the wrap turn and the inside turn is in the inside turn, she started in closed position and ends in closed position. In the wrap turn, she's going to start in open position and end in wrapped in the guy's arm, which is technically an open position, not a closed position. Okay, let's look at it. Okay, we just saw, I think that was 4 wrap turns of the lady. And first, we'll explain just what's going on briefly so you can understand. As always, it's difficult to see exactly what the different pieces are. Then we'll break it down: ladies' footwork, men's footwork, how it's led and followed, and any technical details. Okay, so this is, he's going to bring her back to what normally we would say closed position, but he's not going to bring her back to closed. He's going to bring her back to an open position. And this is like changed places, but he stays on the same side. And we'll just look at that real quick. Okay, so change places, but he stays on the same side, right? That's just our right turn. When we did change places, he ends up in front, but now he's going to stay on the side. So she's going to do a 1. That was a 1. She's going to turn around, half a turn on each step, half a turn. And we already looked at her footwork, and he's just wrapped her up here. And then he's going to send her back out. Let's watch again. So this is change places. This is change places again, but staying on the same side. And now the wrap turn. And that's the wrap turn. And then he sends her out. Another change places, same side. Send out. Okay, change places again. And now he's going to do the wrap turn. We can watch it from this side. And we're going to watch change places one more time. The wrap turn one more time from this side. Okay, so this is the wrap turn. 1, 2, 3, and she goes back the other way on 1. Same footwork. So there's the same footwork in the lady's 1.5 when she did it by herself. And she's doing the footwork, same footwork in the inside turn, and again here. So it doesn't matter what the handholds are that lead her into this left 1.5 turn. Whenever she turns left, it's always a left 1.5 if it's more than half a turn. Now if he doesn't stop her, she can keep turning as many times as she wants. But in our hustle basic, it's left 1.5. Okay, let's look at her footwork. Again, he's going to change places, same side. Change places, same side. That's a 1, So she's going straight on her line. Half a turn on each step. That's half a turn so far. That's a whole turn so far. She pivots over her standing leg. She doesn't take her body back this way on the O1. This is because he's got a hold over here. One. She stayed forward. That's very nice. And then, in this case, when he's done, he's just going to send her out with an underarm turn in this case. Okay. Let's look at her footwork one more time. This is just repetition of the last two videos. A 1, 2, 3. She has to use the last O1 to go back the other way. 1, 2. That's it. Okay. Let's look at his footwork. We've already reviewed her footwork many times. His footwork now is a little bit different. So we saw him on the inside turn. In that case, he was just doing a cross-body lead. And his footwork is the same as the cross-body lead. Here, it's similar, but not identical. So he's going to go A1, A1. This is the bring back footwork, which is similar to the cross-body lead, actually. But let me show you where it's different. And 3. That is the same as a cross-body lead, actually. So, but I'll show you what's going to be different. And 1, 2, 3. That was a send out afterwards. Okay, let's go back because it's the O1 that matters here. So when he did his cross-body lead, they were close together here. And he did a wide and an in-place 1. I don't know if you remember that, but he said 1. Now watch what happens. Is in place, and 1 is traveling in that direction because she was further down the hall, further down her line. In the close position, she was here when he started. And so now he has to travel that way to get around her on the O1. Let's look at just the O1 again. And watch how this leg is going to go that way. 1. So she did 1, and now he can take this foot and go between her leg. If he was standing over here, this wouldn't be far enough down the hall. 2. See, again, he has to wait for her to put her foot down to get past him. She's got to get past him right here. If he put his foot here, they'd be in trouble because he couldn't get around her to get to the other side. So she's down, and now he's down. See that? So she's past him. And if he didn't travel that way, he'd be over here. And he couldn't get around on one step to get over here on 3. He brings his feet together, and he's going to follow her right there to 3. 3. He stayed nice and tight. And then he's just going to send her out when it's done. And he could do a crossbody lead here. He could do many things. In this case, he's just sending her out. That's a 1. Okay. Let's watch. His 2 was there. Her 2 was here. See, that's her left foot. So she did 1, 2. So see, his 2 is on this side of her 2. And it's a little after her 2, by the way. So now he's clear, he can get past. If his 2 was on this side of her 2, she'd be in his way. Let's watch it from this side. 1. Okay, so he had his legs, he didn't bring his feet together. So he was far enough over. That is her 1. That's her right foot. So 1. Here's her 2. So this is his 2. So he's got to let her get past 2. And then he has to go on that side of her 2. Well, this isn't perfection, but it's fine. It's good. You can see they're doing it. You know, perfection would be his 2 might be right there, only an inch away from her 2. Three. And he's got her wrapped up over here. So he's one more time. Okay, so we looked at both their footwork. Now we're going to look at how the messages are passed, what's being communicated, lead and follow. So first he asks her to come back, go straight, turn right, and she's going to do all that until she does her rock step. There, so she did a rock step. Now he's moving the connection forward here. So that tells her to go down her line. He's also moving the connection. He's prepping her a little bit. So we can't see from this angle, but this hand is a little bit in front of her body. There, we can see better now. So he's moved this connection. See how her hips here are rotated this way. So if we just go back a little bit, and her hips square. There. See how her hip went back? That's because he rotated her that way, so that when he brings her forward, she's going to go straight and her hip is going to rotate. There. So your toes turning out, starting to turn her head, and her hip's already rotated. See how much? She's on 1, 1. So it's very early. And he's done leading at this point. So there's no more leading. And her rule is to keep turning. So if he took this hand, she could only do a half a turn. And she'd back out. That would be like a send out. Or from open position, or change places in the opposite direction. But if he doesn't take the hand, she can keep turning. Now, if he raised the hand over her head, she could keep turning as well. That would be another way to do it. Once she's moving, she has no frame. She has spaghetti arms. See, her frame, she just maintains the connection. If she maintained her frame, she would have to stop, right? Because her frame, let's look at her frame. This is her frame, shape of her arms to her body. When he moves the connection parallel to the floor, horizontally, her rule is to maintain her frame. So the law of connection is the follower, that's her, maintains the connection. That's the connection. Part of the law of connection is the rule of frame. The rule of frame is when the connection moves parallel to the floor, you maintain your frame. So when he moves the connection that way, she must turn her body because she's keeping her frame. Now, once she's in motion, then she allows her frame to adjust. In other words, she has spaghetti arms. She just maintains a connection, but she no longer keeps the rule of frame. If she kept the rule of frame, she would have to stop right there, right? Because that's the end of her frame. So she has to let herself wrap up, which she did right here, right? This arm's now pointing that way. Before it was pointing in this direction. You see, so she has to let her frame adjust once she's in motion. Because he's done leading. Once he asks her to go straight and turn, he's not leading anymore. Now, they're not hanging on to each other here, by the way. Also, this hand should be up above her, this hand. In this turn, she's letting her hand get caught. Okay. I think she's going to get it through at some point here, maybe not. So she's still turning, and her rule is to keep turning as much as you can. If he stops right here, then she has to stop turning because she would lose connection. So what he has to do is allow the connection to keep turning with her he's not turning her. She's already turning. But he has to keep up with her turn if he wants her to do the full 1.5. Now there's a move we're going to see later when we look at them during the improvisation that they do at the end of this, their dance here, where he does stop her here. He doesn't stop her, but he leaves a connection here and she has to stop on her own. But here he's going to keep moving the connection around her. So he's moving the connection around her here. In fact, I think he let go right there. No, he still got her hand. But he's moving with her, which means she can keep turning because she hasn't reached the end of the connection yet. See, these rules work for every figure in every dance. These are the subconscious cues that people are following when they're dancing with one another, even though they don't know what they are. Okay. Right there. So here, he is going to stop, I believe. Yeah, so you see he's no longer moving the connection with her anymore, right? Because he kept his hand here. So at that point, she has to stop turning. If he didn't, she would still continue to turn. But I missed one thing here. After she's turned here, he's sending her back the other way. And not with a bump with this hand, which so many people do. That's bad. He's took the other hand here as a connection, and she has to maintain both of these connections with her two hands. There's no connection on her back. So this connection here is taking her forward. So she's already led forward. Now, once the rest of part of the rule of frame is when the connection moves horizontally, that doesn't mean anything. She's already led to go back. So we have two leads in this figure. The first lead was here, go straight, turn left. That's the first lead. And then he's going to wait for her to finish. And then she's still going straight, turning left. He's just allowing the connection to move with her to allow her to turn as much as she wants. Here, he took the other hand. We can't see it. It's on the other side. He took the other hand, and that's sending her back that way. There. So the hand was here. Now it's over there. That tells her to go straight. And then he moved the connection towards the mirror to ask her to turn away from him. Let's watch again. So I'm explaining this leading and following in detail because people just make up stories about what the leading and following is. And some of what they say is right, and some of what they say is meaningless, and some is wrong. And if you have no way to know. They don't know, and you have no way to know if you know. So This is actually it's actually math, and it's a geometrical set of rules that govern where the lady moves. So she goes straight, turns, in this case, turns left, and when she goes back, he moves the connection straight and asks her to turn right. And that's it. There's no other funky business. Straight and turn left. She finishes her turn, and he's now going straight and turn right. I'm going to watch it from this side. Straight and turn right. This is her frame. She's already turning because he moved the connection straight and around her standing leg. He's done leading. He's moving the connection with her, which allows her to keep turning. She got her hand above. That's really good. That's where we want it. Nice and tight turn. He moved the connection all the way to there to allow her to keep turning around. And he connected here, so she has to come back the other way. Now you can lead her back the other way with this hand too, actually. And she's coming forward. And he continues to let her turn. There. That's the lady's wrap turn. We're going to watch it from the beginning. And in our level 2 routine, instead of doing the inside turn, you can do a wrap turn. Replace that. That's a leader's option. So instead of, after our bookend, instead of bringing her back to closed position, this would be a send out at the end of the bookend. And instead of bringing her back to close, you can bring her back to open, just like this. That's the lady's wrap turn. Remember to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Visit us at www.partnerdancing.com. Sign up for our free newsletter.